Do you love Star Wars villains and the Inquisitors that have appeared in shows like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Rebels? Read about a Jedi's journey to the dark side in the new novel Star Wars: Inquisitor, Rise of the Red Blade, from New York Times bestselling author Delilah S. Dawson. When the Jedi Order falls, an Inquisitor rises. Padawan Iskata Karis has dedicated her life to traveling the galaxy alongside her master, learning the ways of the Force to become a good Jedi. As the years pass and the Clone Wars engulf the galaxy in chaos, her faith in the Jedi wanes. When the Jedi Order finally falls, Iskat seizes the chance to forge a path of her own. She embraces the salvation of Order 66, and with each strike of her red blade, Iskat moves closer to claiming her new destiny in the Force, whatever the cost. You can enter for the chance to win a free copy of Inquisitor: Rise of the Red Blade at readstarwars.com/redbladepodcast. Star Wars Inquisitor: Rise of the Red Blade is available for purchase wherever books are sold. So I did want to get it on record that I wouldn't be responsible if you destroyed your hair when you bleached it, but you did it. So I feel like you will hold me responsible, even if I had gotten it on record.
No, like, my hair is like the one thing that, like, I actually think is probably my best feature, and without it I'm nothing. So, but I actually think it came out pretty well.
No, it looks nice.
Yeah. So
it looks like your hair, but
blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah. The process was fun, but I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but because my hair is so dark, but I'm actually vibing with it. I keep forgetting, though, it's like that, so... and I
Do you
don't
feel
know,
dumber?
What?
Do you feel dumber?
A little, but I think that was just the burning from the bleach in my scalp kind of seeped into my brain.
Are you having more fun? Do you feel like your daily tasks?
It's my first day.
Washing
I gotta
the dishes.
Gotta get used to it. I keep catching myself, like, in mirrors or reflections. I'm like, well, still not used to it. But I don't know what to tell people. Not people, but, like...
People you know.
But, like,
family.
that I don't fuck with, like...
That's a new alarm. I haven't heard that one around here.
Know.
Fire department got an upgrade.
For the big fires.
They had a whole crew.
But, like, there are certain people who I'm, like, friends with, but, like, they don't know what my deal is. So I'm not gonna be thinking, like, oh, why'd you bleach your hair? I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, I have to tell them I do a podcast, and they ask me what the podcast is. I'm not doing all that.
Well, I lost a bet, friendly bet about Oppenheimer, Barbie.
I'm like, why would you? What sane person does that?
Yeah, I'm really into movies. You know, it's a fun thing. Me and my buddies do.
Yeah.
Like when Teddy honored his bet.
I'm just going with, like, yeah, just, try to change it up.
Just get off my dick, motherfucker.
Doing something new.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast. I am Bo Oliver. Officially, I'm out of retirement. We're dropping the bit.
Thank God. I hated that bit.
Yeah, a lot of people... my family sat me down and had an intervention. They were like, stop that bit. It's destroying you and the people around you. And I'm joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey. Blonde Aaron.
Blonde Aaron.
First podcast as a blonde guy, so I'm not expecting much out of you. Or just a little less.
That's an awful stereotype that's kept me and my blonde brethren down for many years, and I don't really appreciate it.
Well, I mean, we're Americans. We have to hang on to some stereotypes.
Those were like the worst jokes ever, the blonde jokes, the Yo Mama jokes. Everybody had the same exact one, and you could probably reincite.
Blonde jokes, yes. Yo Mama jokes still have a place in modern society, I believe. There's nothing better than retaliating with Yo Mama.
Yeah.
Like when somebody says some foul shit.
Hit him with the Yo Mama.
Like Eminem, 8 Mile.
My motto, fuck lotto. I get the 7 digits from your mother for $1 tomorrow.
That shit was hard.
Yeah, it was pretty hard.
But you know what? Lotto beat him in the second round, I believe.
Damn. It's a hot take.
Yeah, and we're back to talk about the world of Hollywood. We're talking about some potential delays, some big stories when it comes to U.S. weekend box office and worldwide box office, and an iconic director coming out of retirement to premiere his movie that's already out in Japan. I wonder who that is, but it's coming soon to North America. And of course, you can watch or listen, whatever you want to do, to this podcast for... Damn. I'm struggling today. It's because I'm tired because I went for a walk. I'll never do that again before the podcast. You can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and of course here on YouTube, and follow us on social medias. At Nerd Soup, at Bo Soup, at Nerd Soup Monkey, and at Purple Girl NS. Just gonna randomly shout out Marissa. We'll switch that up every episode. Maybe next week it will be Stu. But he's got multiple accounts, so I don't know which one to plug. Alright, well, first story, you see it from the title. Will Dune Part 2 be delayed to 2024? That's been the talk since a report came out, I want to say a little over 2 weeks ago, from Variety, that the higher-ups at Warner Brothers were considering pushing back Dune, and other studios are also considering the same for their films because they're not going to be marketed as well as they can without the cast. Because of the ongoing strike with the actors and the writers against the studios, cast members are not allowed to promote any films they're currently working on, future projects, past projects. They essentially have to stay mum. So Dune is a movie that would definitely benefit from having the cast out there on the talk shows, putting together funny videos on the internet, because there's a lot of stars in Dune. Guys like Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya have huge followings, especially Zendaya, and that helps.
No, they're robbing us of Chalamet on Hot Ones.
He hasn't done Hot Ones? Yeah, right. Or Stephen McKinley Henderson on Hot Ones.
And that's how you get people in the seats.
Love to see that. Incredible actor. Just an all-around fun guy. Based on what I've read, the CEO of IMAX, so this is the big thing that has people believing it's not going to move. He said that Dune has those IMAX screens for 6 weeks, which is rare because a lot of the times a big movie comes out. Look at Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. They had the IMAX screens for 1 week, and then Oppenheimer gobbled them up for more than a month, it looks like, because they just announced that Oppenheimer is going to be shown in IMAX up until August 31st. So if you haven't seen it in IMAX, go and get your tickets before they sell out.
Oh, now you are. Now you're promoting Oppenheimer.
I've always been promoting Oppenheimer. I just thought Barbie was going to do better.
How fucking funny would it be if it's not going to happen, but if some miracle like Oppenheimer just overtakes it?
It's so unlikely that I can't imagine how funny it would be. But
it would be great.
That's the benefit Oppenheimer has going for it, is that IMAX costs more, so that's really helping its box office.
That was part of my whole thing.
It's still absurd how much money it's making, even with the IMAX tickets. And it's also a credit to Barbie having no IMAX screens and making over $1 billion. That's very impressive.
I actually on the Fan Question Pod, which you can listen to on our Patreon. Sick plug.
Good plug.
Like if I told you Oppenheimer was going to be around 600, 700 million, you probably would have, weren't feeling too confident about that bet. But testament to Barbie.
No, the Barbie phenomenon has taken over the nation. I'm
going to call you in like 20 years for like the 20th anniversary of Oppenheimer, like its 5th re-release in theaters, and it finally takes over Barbie after like this podcast is done. And in an ugly fashion, we don't talk anymore. I haven't talked to you like... We're mortal enemies at this point. I'm going to call you, like, get ready to get that tattoo, bitch.
Well, yeah, you'll have to call me because the restraining order is going to restrict you from coming to my book tour, Inside Bo, the real story of Nerd Soup, and why Teddy's in jail. It's a little subtitle.
Teddy's out of the clink. They give him his possessions. All right, here's your mic.
Yeah. Here's your mic, and...
We're still doing the podcast, right, guys?
Little trinkets that you would steal from Bo's room every podcast. Fucking thief. What was the point? Oh, yeah, with Dune, right. So the CEO of IMAX said, listen, I don't believe it's going to be pushed back because Dune's got the perfect window here. 6 uninterrupted weeks of IMAX screens with no competition. And there was also the story about the Marvels. The Marvels won't be showing in IMAX because Dune's gobbled up all those screens, and they believe that Dune is going to be the better movie to make money off of those IMAX screens. So the question is, what happens if it is pushed back? We would have to speculate, but I don't think it will be because of that opportunity. You have to... is having Chalamet and Zendaya and those other actors, is that more valuable than having those IMAX screens? I don't think it is. Because then it becomes...
much for people? I've never seen a press trinket and been like, yeah, now I gotta go see this movie.
It's a combination of coordinating a successful campaign, putting the actors in positions to really sell it like the Barbie movie did, right? All the little bits that they did with, Variety on their YouTube channel and, the red carpet. But a lot of it was just them plastering Barbie shit all over the internet. I don't think it necessarily makes or breaks how much a movie does, but it doesn't hurt to have your stars out there.
No, it doesn't.
Especially banging the drum of like, Dune's coming out, Dune's coming out, Dune's coming out. That's big when it comes to Dune, because if we want future movies, and I don't know if I think the third one has been greenlit, right? Or it's talked about that Villeneuve wants to do it.
I think like Chalamet signed on,
okay.
If it's probably an option, but we'll see. I mean, Dune Part 1, as like commercially successful as it was, not commercially, critically, like it didn't make that much money.
Right, when you compare it to Marvel films, superhero films, I think it's a tad bit over 400 million.
And obviously we were still going through probably towards the tail end, but I still think COVID had an impact on a lot of things when it came to that movie. You would think after the success and all the, critical and audience response from the first one and having all this star power that this would be the movie that breaks out and shows like, yeah, this franchise, this type of movie can make money. But
yeah, and I've been trying to avoid the trailers, but I did see it play in front of Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
God, it looks incredible.
It's so good.
Holy fucking shit.
My crowd got hyped from the Oppenheimer crowd.
Yeah.
They were like, hell yeah.
Well, it's funny because we were all like, oh, Villeneuve will win for part 2 because he was snubbed for part 1. But it's looking very crowded. And Nolan with Oppenheimer, it feels like it's going to be his year. But you also have Scorsese coming out with Killers of the Flower Moon. I think Miyazaki might sneak in there as, it's his last movie. He's a legend. He's never been nominated for Best Director. Gerwig, I think, will be nominated as well.
I tell you what.
So even if Villeneuve gets in there...
If we're leaving Dune 2 being like, yeah, Denis should win, like, Dune 2 is going to be a fucking epic masterpiece. They need to nominate him.
What a dick move for Villeneuve to come out and make a better movie than Oppenheimer. If I was Nolan, I'd be so pissed, especially because there's a lot of similarities between the two. And I think in some people's minds, Nolan's a legend, A-list director. He's not as... Villeneuve is not up to that level of just the public knowing who he is.
He's Nolan for film Twitter.
Right. A lot of people make Villeneuve's better than Nolan. I wish Nolan would have done this, or I prefer Villeneuve to Nolan. So there's like a cold war between them when it comes to film Twitter and cinephiles. So like I said, that would be such a dick move for him to be like, oh, your masterpiece just came out? Well,
I mean, him not getting a nomination last year when Dune 1 came out was fucking pathetic.
Yeah, now it's feeling like that would have been the better year for him to try and win it.
It's like we said before, when it gets nominated for every other category, who's the man who's in charge of all these different things coming together in a cohesive way?
Who's directing this?
But yeah, I don't think the pushback, especially what are they thinking, like April or March?
Right, and there's so much uncertainty because you don't know if the strike is going to be done. So if you start chasing a deadline that is so uncertain, you're going to get egg on your face. Because if like the strike ends 2 weeks before your new deadline, then what's the marketing campaign with these actors? It's going to essentially be what it would have been if the movie came out in its original release date, on its original release date.
But it's like, you don't get the cast, and maybe you will if it does end sooner rather than later, but like you already started rolling out your marketing. So what are you going to pause it and then revamp it up in a couple months?
Right, yeah, we've had trailers, we're having TV spots, so that would be weird. And I think that there is a momentum. It's so hard to calculate. But I think the public is aware that this movie is coming out. You would expect it to do better than part 1, because even though it didn't make billions of dollars at the box office, it still did good for what that type of movie is. Like, yeah, it's a big budgeted sci-fi film, but it's a bit more dense, it's slower. Some of the stars, it's got a lot of star power, but it's confusing. You see a trailer for it and you're like, what the fuck is that? I need to do more research. So the fact that it did make almost $500 million was very impressive.
Yeah, and 402 worldwide.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. And the expectations for this one, I think it should be higher.
Yeah, 108 million domestic. I think there's definitely room to improve on that. I can see this opening up to a pretty big, especially like you said, if it does have that window, it can keep that momentum. And like obviously the Marvels, that's pretty like, you would think in the past and how things usually work, like at Marvel Studios, Disney would probably try to get those screens, but
yeah, you would think that they would move it.
It does help if you're IMAX though, like if it's between a film shot in IMAX and made for IMAX rather than something that's not supposed to be in that format, I think it's pretty easy choice to stick with Dune.
Yeah, they said that the Marvels is not a bad backup. So if Dune does move, then the Marvels will get those screens. But you're also playing the game of, if you move the Marvels, it's the same thing. What if they move it to a new date and then all of a sudden it becomes so crowded that you moved your date that you've been anticipating, that you've been setting up for, and you only get 1 week of IMAX screens or 2 weeks. Was that really worth it? And that's a movie that, a lot of people aren't excited for because of the Marvel fatigue that's starting to set in. It feels like there's just so much happening that not enough people are checking into to justify all the interconnectedness of Phase 5. I guess that's what it is. I really liked Nia DaCosta's Candyman. I thought it was one of the best movies of that year. So once again, she's a smaller director being yanked by the big studio systems. We'll see what she can deliver, because a lot of these big budgeted movies, they sometimes strip away everything that makes the director unique. Based on the last trailer I saw, it looks like it could be fun.
I think it looks pretty good, actually. I mean, there's just a ton of baggage with, I guess, that character that is just, like, you kind of have to remove if you want to look at it, like, objectively. But there's definitely not looking forward for that to come around once this movie gets closer to releasing.
That aspect of film criticism or just film reaction on the internet is so annoying, dude. It's gotten to a point where I'm like, oh, can we be done with this? But these people just aren't going away. It feels like more of them pop up because it gets clicks.
Yeah.
Hate sells. But it's so excessive. You know, people are going into films with predetermined notions of the quality of the film because of stupid things, like the fact that it's just Brie Larson. You know, like, or Ben Shapiro talking about Barbie, saying that I guarantee this is going to fall off, because the word of mouth will spread and people are going to be like, oh, this is a man-hating, pro-feminist.
That was the one time I wanted the woke mob to be defeated, because I need my... Because of my hair.
Damn, you're like Christoph Waltz and Django. You're like, even though I disagree, you know.
Align myself with the... with the Shapiros of this world. I wanted to do a bit where I was going to retweet all that, like, oh, yep, definitely not seen Barbie. You guys shouldn't either. But it's so hard to...
No, it's too tough.
To, like, separate yourself and be like, I'm being completely sarcastic here. But that would have been funny.
Well, then you would have got the freaks that don't really follow you.
The woke trash train.
Yeah. You would have got a lot of angry people. Right. No, yeah, you would have blown up.
Get a blue check, start making bank.
All of a sudden, you're just replying to Elon. Oh, what a masterful gambit, sir. Well done. I love the name X. It's definitely great for marketing and branding.
I mean, the other side of this whole thing, too, is like Warner Brothers being the major studio and a big part of this whole strike. I guess it's kind of a good thing that they're feeling it a little bit, you know, from the writers and actors' perspective. Like, they would consider moving, like, because obviously... they value the promotion they can get from a cast, especially with a cast like Dune, that they would consider moving it back because they realize the value that brings.
Somebody said that Warner Brothers is going to tell Gerwig that as successful as Barbie has been, it's still in the red, so we're not going to be able to pay you those bonuses. Yeah, there was a report that the studios and the unions sat down to negotiate for the first time since the strike started, but they got nowhere because the studios are refusing to budge on any of the demands that the unions have been making. Once again, the unions are providing waivers for independent productions. A studio like A24, which is nowhere near the size of Warner Brothers, can agree to these stipulations, but somehow Disney and Netflix and all these other companies can't.
It feels like in sports, when every time this happens, it's like the league obviously plays it tough, and they're willing to concede on something that's in their eyes insignificant, and then kind of brush everything else they really wanted into it, and then we're back in the same place a few years down the road when the CBA is over.
Right? Yeah, good compromise. Like everybody's upset.
Like the same thing with like the weed testing and other. I think it was either the NFL or an NBA, like all right, we won't test or have the punishments as strong as a way to bring in all these other things that are these problems arise next time the collective bargaining comes around. So it's like what you got to value most and what are these studios willing to give up in order to keep what they really want. You got to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, the issues that the unions are having seem so major that who knows how long this strike is going to go. Because the fact that the studios aren't budging on certain things, like not scanning background actors and then using that likeness without their permission in future projects, it's so nasty.
I feel like they're using that as...
Like, you've been caught red-handed.
Like, what affects them more financially? Not having to give the residuals or the scanning thing.
Right, yeah, they're pushing that, so it's like, okay, we won't do that, but we're still not going to
give you residuals, and that's going to be slipped in.
Right, yeah, well, that's why there's so many important issues, because that's one that's more looking forward, but the here and now is the residuals, and changing the payment structure for when a show comes out on streaming and is super popular. Like Suits, it's the most popular show in the world. None of those actors are probably seeing anything for that. So can you imagine being a writer, a director, or an actor, or anybody associated with that show? The amount of revenue that it's probably bringing to Netflix, and you don't see any of it. Even though we don't know. That's the other thing. Like, laws need to change, where Congress... the unions, they need to start lobbying Congress and saying, we need more transparency. it should be illegal for them to hide what these shows are actually doing, because then it puts us in a position of not being able to bargain because we have no leverage. It's like the way that all these stories are coming out of directors saying like, oh, the studio told me, like Peter Jackson being told that Lord of the Rings wasn't profitable. And it's just like, that's so ridiculous, I'm going to sue you and get the money that I deserved. But that's Peter Jackson. He has the resources. He has the cachet to do that. If you're some independent, like Nia DaCosta, what if the Marvels came out and they were like, well, you know, it wasn't profitable even though it made $700 million worldwide because of marketing and reshoots. Just trust us. You know, what is she going to do? That's a good point, that they're highlighting all these issues. Look over here, and then we'll sweep all that stuff under the rug. But there's no way. We've seen it happen before where unions get fucked over because you feel that pressure and eventually you cave. But if they don't sort out this situation of residuals and the streaming models, and they're going to be fucked because they're going to be right back in this position as soon as they can call for another strike, because there's so much money. There's too much money being left on the table.
I think we talked about it, like, just like when it's impossible like to hold the studios accountable either, because a lot of their losses come from a lot of their boneheaded decisions that we see coming a mile away. Look at Disney. What's the ramifications of Haunted Mansion just being an absolute dumpster fire and box office bomb? Who's that gonna impact? It's not gonna impact Disney, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and then they'll turn around and say, you guys wrote and made a shitty-ass movie. We gave you all this money, you guys couldn't give us a hit. So that's... It's funny, when I watched...
You mean this antiquated ride that no one likes? You couldn't make this into a box office success?
Well, the disconnect between the artists and the executives has gotten worse over the last 20 years because it has been a lot of, you know, venture capitalists, hedge fund dickheads who are adopting the tech model. So there's never been more of a disconnect between the artists and the executives. But it's like Barbie coming out, and the lesson that they're learning is we're just going to make a toy universe. Not, we're going to let young, creative filmmakers do their own thing, come up with projects that aren't costing $200 million, that can make a profit because they're new, original, fresh, and yeah, they have some tropes and cliches that are going to bring audiences in, but they're also going to challenge audiences. No, the lesson is we're going to make a bunch of toy movies. There's like a recipe to make more money. That's what I just can't get over it, how much of a disconnect there is. Like, Seth Rogen's a perfect example. You put that man's name on a project, and it's going to be, at very minimum, good. He adapts, when it comes to comic book adaptations, Preacher, Invincible, The Boys, now Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's a shame it's not making more money. There's a lot of Seth Rogens out there. That's a way to make more money.
Speaking of Suits, you know how many times I've watched that little clip that plays on Netflix? Like when you hover over or something?
Oh, okay. What is the clip?
When he's like...
Is it Meghan Markle?
No, it's when one of the suits is going to the other suits, and he's like, he wants a job, and he's like, oh, sorry, we only hire guys from Harvard. He's like, oh. Then he makes him open up the law book and read a page from the book, and he recites it from memory. He's like, whoa, this guy has what it takes to become a suit.
Did he like do a Tony Stark and open up like a device behind him that had the suit, like smoke? Like, come here, buddy, take off that fucking tuxedo.
Like fucking Kingsman. They don't fight crime, they just go to court.
I would be a bow tie lawyer.
You have to have like a southern twang.
All right, before we move on to U.S. weekend box office, we have a lot of fun things to talk about when it comes to that. We're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, and that would be ExpressVPN. Aaron, you have a little message for us from our friends at Express, right?
Well, they say using the internet without a VPN is like going to the bathroom and not closing a door.
Oh, Teddy does that a lot.
I do that a lot. Let me explain. Your internet service provider knows every single website you visit. They can sell this information to ad companies and tech giants who then use your data to target you with ads, trying to get you to buy shit you don't need. Or maybe you do need. I don't know. Back to the bathroom metaphor. Like closing the door when you're taking a leak, a VPN will close the door on your personal data. ExpressVPN creates a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet, so your online activity can't be seen by anyone.
Anyone?
Nobody.
Damn, it's discreet.
And it works on phones, laptops, even routers, so everyone who shares your Wi-Fi is protected.
Oh, wow. I don't have anybody who lives with me, but it'd be nice if I did. I could protect them.
Come with me. There's no time to explain. All right, connect to my Wi-Fi. All right. we're good. All you have to do is fire up the ExpressVPN app and click one button. It's as easy as closing the bathroom door. So don't wait. Get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by visiting expressvpn.com/nerdsoup. That's expressvpn.com/nerdsoup for 3 extra months free.
One more time?
expressvpn.com/nerdsoup. It is funny when you rewatch like the Terminators and just how many classic action line cliches just come from those movies.
Oh, yeah.
Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, yeah. That's the big one.
I know. But you just don't realize like that obviously had to start somewhere. And it's Terminator.
Yeah, I was thinking about something like that the other day. I was like, that had to have started somewhere, and I think I found the origin. I can't remember it. Don't smoke weed, kids. All right, let's move on to U.S. weekend box office. So the big winner this weekend was Barbie. On its third weekend, came in with $53 million domestically for a total gross of $460 million domestically. Worldwide, it crossed $1 billion. It's at $1.034 billion off of a budget of around $130. That's been super impressive to watch. It only dropped about 40% going into its second weekend and another 40% drop going into its third, and it beat out the Meg, which came in at number 2. Meg 2, The Trench, made $30 million domestically. Its domestic total is about $30 million because it's only been out for one weekend. Worldwide, it's at $170, so it's looking like it could be a hit, another hit for Warner Brothers. Number 3 was Oppenheimer, which made about $29 domestically. Its domestic total is $228, which is massive for a movie like that. Worldwide, it's at $556 million off of a $100 million budget.
Just seeing some of the budgets, like for Secret Invasion, in the like $200 million, and then seeing Oppenheimer, and even Dune off of like a $165 million budget. Wow, what are they doing with the money? Haunted Mansion, by the way, $150 million budgets, made $60 million so far worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide it's at 60. Domestically, it came in at number 5, made $9 million. So its domestic total is 42. Looking like one of the biggest bombs of all time, maybe.
Well,
Disney's had some track record with bombs. John Carter.
Oppenheimer, I mean.
Oh, because it's a gadget. That's what they're calling it. Number 4 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, made 28 domestically. Domestic total is at 43. Worldwide, it's at 51. That's off of a $70 million budget. It looks like it's going the way of the first Spider-Verse movie, which did make a profit, but probably deserved to make way more. Definitely deserved to make way more. And yeah, I'm hoping that it can get up there in the hundreds of millions, so we get another one of these, because I thought it was very delightful and well done.
Yeah, I didn't see it yet. I kind of want to.
Yeah, it was really good. And like I said, you put Seth Rogen's name on a project. He knows how to tell these stories for modern audiences while still honoring what makes them so special, why people love them so much. And I've never been a big Turtles guy, but
my college roommate was a huge Ninja Turtles fan.
Yeah, people love those fucking Turtles, man.
He had like a blanket, he had shirts. Love the Turtles.
But I'm seeing the appeal. They're a fun group. Yeah.
Ragtag team.
I like the way they play with the names, that they're, just Leo and Mikey and Ralph. Jackie Chan as Splinter was so good.
Italian icons.
Hey, I'm just a turtle here. Well, what's interesting about Barbie's success internationally, just going over where it's made the most, in the UK it's grossed 62, Mexico it did 41, Brazil it's made 33, Australia 30, and China 25. So it's doing really well domestically and all across the world. So people have an appetite for movies that are female-centric. And I've met a lot of people who have been reluctantly going to see it and then enjoying it, saying, oh, my girlfriend's dragging me to Barbie. And then I'm like, what did you think? And they were like, damn, that was really funny. And I'm like, yeah, I told you. Why don't you trust my opinions? I
was at a birthday party on Saturday. Friends I've known for a while, at their house, and the Barbie song came on. Everyone went crazy. The one where they're doing the dance in the house. My boy, whose name is Ken, funny enough, he busted out the Ken dance.
Oh, okay. Dance All Night?
Yeah.
The Dua Lipa song.
It was a whole thing. I was like, love to see that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people putting the songs on their stories on Instagram. Ice Spice, Nicki Minaj, Barbie World.
Not a fan of that one. I should have got the OG.
It's grown on me. I didn't like it at first because I'm a big Ice Spice fan. But when it came on the credits, I was like, that's really funny. The gynecologist line leading into that song. I'm Just Ken is objectively just a good song. Ryan Gosling currently has 9 million monthly listeners on Spotify, so if you recommend me an artist that doesn't have more monthly listeners than Ryan Gosling, I will not be listening.
I'm trying to think like what because like part of the, I guess, bet is now I have to like do a post with my hair. So I was going to recreate well, no, I'll never do that, but it'd be funny if I just recreated I'm Just Ken. But I don't have enough friends to create Did you hear my tummy growl?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, we're in like a tummy growl competition over here because mine's growling too.
So I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. That's another stressful part of this. I gotta think of a funny caption. This is a nightmare. I can't. So I'll do something lame like my job is beach, but everyone's doing that now.
Yeah.
I'm late to the game. 2 weeks ago, it would have been a smash.
Oh, 2 weeks ago, yeah, no, it would have been... Yeah. Well, somebody responded to your tweet and was like, you lost this bet like a month ago. What took you so long?
The movies weren't out a month ago.
I know, I was so confused. People just be responding. Well, somebody responded to my tweet. He didn't follow me, so I didn't take it as personally. But when I tweeted about seeing a big family at the theater, and I thought, oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is opening weekend. Look at these parents taking their kids to see the Turtles. I'm happy. I hope they enjoy it. Then I saw them walk into my screening of The Meg. Terrible parenting.
Not great.
But then somebody responded to my tweet because I tweeted about it, and they were like, why don't you shut your mouth and let them parent how they want?
Yeah, hell yeah. It was his family.
It was
yeah. He took his family there.
It's like, hey, why don't you mind your goddamn business?
Yeah. I'll just go to the beach. Ken goes to the beach, right? I hate the beach.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a picture right now.
Or you could just Photoshop yourself at the beach.
Yeah. Then put on a bathing suit. This is just a mess.
You're loving every second of it.
No, I'm not. I do like the...
Why are you grinning from ear to ear? Think of a Ken pun. Yes, we can. And Photoshop Obama with you.
Me making this presidential speech?
Yeah, exactly.
That is funny.
Somebody tweeted something funny the other day about Obama. I can't remember what it was.
A lot of good Obama tweets.
Yeah, there are.
Did you see Obama and here's a character in the Baki anime?
He's an actual character? Or somebody
Obama's
fan art? Oh, Obama.
When he showed up in The Flash and Gorilla Grodd,
not going to top that for a long time.
Goes back in time to kill Obama.
Yeah.
That's so fucking funny.
The guy who played young Obama was perfect, too. He's like, can I help you? No, he was a bit more scared than that.
I feel like every president, like we need a president, like I feel like that's something that we should weigh higher than other things. Like they have to be like you have to be able to do a good impersonation. So I feel like going back to like, you could do a Trump, you could do Obama. Biden's hard, right?
You could definitely do a Biden. You do the whispering.
Yeah, whisper Biden.
Listen, folks, yeah. But no, we've had a string of...
It's not as iconic as like a Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton, Bush.
Bush.
Reagan? People did Reagan for a long time. George H.W. was more difficult.
Yeah, I don't even know what he sounds like.
Yeah, he's a square.
That's tough, yeah. Yeah, I think a president, you need
Clinton's
to be...
very easy.
Yeah.
Let's do the little thumb.
You could do a Clinton.
Yeah.
Can you do JFK? You sound like a Boston guy.
JFK, very easy, very easy. I don't know why there's an army of lawnmowers. All right, let's move on here to the next story. We have legendary director Hayao Miyazaki's next movie. It already came out in Japan, and it's doing well. It's a tick behind the box office results of The Wind Rises up until this same point of release. Maybe the strategy of not doing any marketing backfired a little bit because I think they could have benefited from the GOAT's coming out of retirement. This is probably his last film. Go and fucking see it. But it is doing well in Japan. It's made about $40 million. And eventually it will be coming out in North America later this year, but it's getting its North American premiere at the Toronto Film Festival on September 7th. So that's going to be cool. Hopefully you're going to be able to get me a ticket so I can go and see it, or something happens to you, some sort of accident.
I told you to fucking apply, but...
Yeah, you did. The one time I should have applied and I fucking didn't.
That's be fun. That's going to be a cool...
I hate present me and pass me.
Cool one to go to. That should be like I think that's like solo review worthy, you think? It's been a pretty big deal, right?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome that I'm going to get the chance, and everybody's going to get the chance to watch one of his movies in theaters, because when The Wind Rises came out, I didn't see that in theaters. I remember hearing about it and wanting to go and see it. I wasn't as familiar with Miyazaki at the time. It's his first movie in 10 years, but yeah, no, it might be worthy of a single review.
I actually was going to watch Howl's Moving Castle the other day, but
a character who switches between blonde and brunette. But he does it through magic. So
you're telling me he just like me for real?
Yeah, no, he's just like you. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think you're a bigger fan. I mean, I've loved all the movies I watched of him, but I haven't. So I've probably seen about like half. But yeah, every one I've seen has been pretty great so far. So you would expect the same standard. Is it like? Because I feel like especially even on like the HBO Max, like their anime section, especially the feature films. It's like all the top ones are his, it seems like. But as far as name recognition, the ones that are featured on the thing, it's like most of them are his.
Yeah. And, you know, he's been considered one of the best for a long time, but it feels like, especially with the popularity of anime being on the rise over the last 20 years or so, more people are becoming aware of who he actually is, not just the movies. Because, you know, people recognize Totoro and Ponyo, but now he's getting that sort of same name recognition of
what is
a lot
his,
of
like,
bigger directors. Masterpiece
or his most popular, or like...
It's tough because a lot of people these days know Ponyo because they've shown it to their kids.
Right.
Like, I remember my niece and nephew used to be obsessed with it. Like, Spirited Away was,
I feel like that's
feels
his
like
best
the big
that
breakthrough.
I've seen.
Yeah.
But like,
that's what I consider to be
like
the best.
Totoro might be more popular.
Right. Well, Totoro became the mascot of Ghibli, so you go to Japan, Tokyo, you see Totoro fucking everywhere.
He's fucking?
And I like to imagine Totoro's asexual. I mean, it's so hard for me to pick what's the best. Like I often say, my favorite is Porco Rosso, but I think Spirited Away is his best movie. Yeah. But a lot of people will say Princess Mononoke, which is an incredible epic. The fact that he made a movie that's close to 2.5 hours for children.
That's the one, like, because...
Yeah, it's a beast of a movie. It's a little beast.
Because when I think of, like, sitting down and watching
that's playing in theaters next week.
Is it?
Yeah.
You want to go?
I'd be down to go. I'm actually got a packed movie week next week. Not too packed, but I'm seeing 3 movies in the city.
You're making it a day or like a weekend?
Wednesday to Friday, basically. So I'm going to go, come back. And then I'm seeing that movie, Mutt, that's supposed to be good. It's a new movie, 2023.
Well, it's only playing
by a young director. It's only playing in the city. I'm only going because I also have tickets for Old Boy in 4K at the IFC Center. Friday at 7 if you want to come. Next Friday. But yeah, it's going to be a fun week. And I think Mononoke is out in theaters because every summer now they just do the Ghibli sort of revisited.
It's fun going to the city for movies, especially the ones that like are only playing there. But even like with Barbie and Oppenheimer, it just makes it feel like even more of an event when you actually have to like go out of your way to, instead of going right down the block, to just go see a movie.
Yeah, it feels like an event, like you said. But it's nice. Be in the big city, smell all the trash, walk by Madison Square Garden and be like, that's Madison Square Garden.
Let's go next.
But yeah, like I said, it's doing well in Japan. I do think that this would have benefited from a marketing campaign. But we'll see where it tops out. I think The Wind Rises made around...
Why is there a lack of campaign?
It was a choice that the studio made, that they weren't going to release any trailers, any material. We're just going to put out the movie. Because I guess it's a sign of respect and also the prestige of Miyazaki, but I don't want to say it's necessarily backfired because it's doing well, especially I imagine it didn't cost that much to make. And if this does top out around where The Wind Rises topped out, it's a success. You know, north of $100 million for a film like this. I can't imagine the budget is more than $25 million. I do hate that they changed the title for North America because the original title is so much better. How Do You Live? That's what I'm going to refer to this movie as.
Don't do that.
It's just a better title.
I know.
The Boy and the Heron? The Heron?
Yeah.
It's like such a stupid like title for everybody. How Do You Live? That's like, it's a bit more mysterious. What is this movie about?
Maybe just marketing in America.
Yeah. Right.
Where like Miyazaki
that's 100%
might not like hold the same amount of like name recognition. Although like if you're gonna go see anime, you probably know who he is.
Right. I think the audiences are tapped in. Like, yeah, you want to bring in casuals,
if this is like an American animation movie and that was the title, I feel like parents would be like, is this like some deep kind of complex movie that I don't want to take my kid to? I'd rather go see The Boy and the Heron. That's fun. That's fun for the family.
Yeah, there's a boy and there's a bird.
Is that Dr. Seuss?
It does sound kind of Zeusy. But yeah, critically it's been called one of his best movies. And I mean, the guy in my opinion, has never missed. Yeah, you know, he's one of those, his first movie is his worst by default, even though it's really good. The Castle of Cagliostro, and it's just kept climbing since then.
That's how I'm going to start every, like, director debate I ever get into, or end it. Like, Alex, let me ask you this. Have they missed?
Have they missed?
And see if there's a yes, not my goat.
The most impressive for that is always Scorsese. When you combine how prolific he was and the quality of his films, he's never missed.
Well, the fact, too, with Nolan, like,
It's
Tenet
disgusting.
is, like, his least favorable audience and critically, I feel like. And it's still, like, pretty damn good.
Yeah, and people fucking love that movie. You know, very similar to Interstellar.
Well, that's why I appreciate, like, a Ridley Scott, him saying that he wished he directed Blade Runner 2049. Thank God he didn't. Not saying that
He's so fucking cocky, it's hilarious.
like, it probably would have been good, because when he hits, but, like, to see Villeneuve's film and, like, think, like, I would even want to try to top that or compare to that is ridiculous, but...
Yeah, it would have been different, but I'm happy that Villeneuve got the chance to direct a movie like that.
I kind of like his style where it's like, Napoleon, is it going to bang? Because we know it can.
I know somebody who's seen
it. We know
it.
it can't.
He loved it.
Yeah?
Called it a near masterpiece.
See, that's fucking awesome. I kind of like the, you know, what Ridley are we going to get?
Yeah, no, it's always a toss-up. You don't know if it's going to be The Last Duel or House of Gucci, which both came out in the same year, and The Last Duel was excellent, and House of Gucci was kind of a dumpster fire. Entertaining. Also, quick shout-out, you know, rest in peace, William Friedkin, one of the best directors of the second half of the 20th century, The Exorcist, The French Connection, To Live and Die in L.A. And talk about, you know, how funny Ridley Scott can be when he's talking about how great he is. Friedkin was brutally honest, and a lot of his interviews have been going viral. There was one where somebody asked him about a movie he did with Pacino and Tommy Lee Jones, and they were talking about Pacino's opinion on what made the movie work, and Friedkin interrupted him and was like, I don't give a fuck what Al Pacino has to say. Tommy Lee Jones, yes. I care about what he has to say. But, you know, just a titan. One of the best American directors, as I said, that worked in the second half of the 20th century, changed movies when it comes to, you know, the influence of The Exorcist. We talk about it all the time. If you want to make money at the box office, just put Exorcist in the title. But I think people, they take it for granted. You know, it's like Newton's theory of gravity. Like, oh, things fall to the earth. What a fucking genius. It's like, oh, making an Exorcist movie really creepy and scary and for adults.
Dude, speaking of which... that new trailer is fucking...
It's good, right?
Scared the shit out of me. I haven't seen it before I went to see Oppenheimer, and that came on before my screening. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Well, while it was playing, I didn't know what it was. And then they showed the mom, Ellen Bernstein, and I was like, oh shit, this is The Exorcist. Yeah, it looks scary.
Very scary.
Yeah, you sound scared.
And an IMAX, too?
Yeah, an IMAX, too.
Damn. So that, I mean, that should make, like... if any film deserves to make money based off of The Exorcist name, I guess it's that one, right? Instead of, like, The Exorcism of Tony Stark or some random-ass Exorcist movie that comes out.
Who's directing it? Is it David Gordon Green?
Yeah.
Man, he's so much better at comedy. I mean, people like his horror shit, but he's so good on The Righteous Gemstones. Yeah, so rest in peace, William Friedkin. One of his more underrated movies that has grown in acclaim since it came out. Sorcerer, streaming for real cheap on Amazon. I think it's only like $3. So one of the best movies of the 1970s, considered one of the last masterpieces of the 70s, highly recommended. But yeah, he was truly one of the best.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, a lot of people are dying, huh? Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah, rest in peace, Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
I've never seen his shit.
You ever seen like Pee Wee's Great Adventures?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh.
I've heard it's good though. Like it's funny. He's funny in Blow.
Blow is like
it's a big high school movie
you think like is the greatest movie of all time when you're between the ages of 13 and 17.
I showed that to Vinny LaFada. I was like, you're gonna love this.
People who smoke weed but have never done coke before love that movie.
Yes. Yeah. No, Joe once told me it was one of the greatest movies ever made. That's why I watched it. And I was like, this guy knows fucking movies.
No, like when you're that age, and I'm sure if like a lot of people watch it now, they'd probably like, yeah, this movie's like still got it. But it's just, it's fine, right? I guess.
It's good. Yeah, I think it's still a good movie. A little rushed.
That's like when I was young and I was like, because I think I've told the story before, like my stepdad would always watch The Godfather and Goodfellas. And like, this is movies. These are the movies. So we went to go see American Gangster when it came out. Shout out. Ridley.
Oh, yeah. I always forget that's Ridley.
Yeah. And I left that movie because it was like in the same vein as like those big gangster movies that my stepdad always watched. So I'm like, this is my Godfather. So for a while, I thought that was like one of the best movies of all time.
I did too, because the adults in my life loved it so much.
Yeah. And it's a good movie.
No, it is good.
For sure.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't say it's an all-time classic.
Yeah.
In the vein of Godfather and Goodfellas.
It also hit the streets in a way that most gangster movies don't anymore. With the combination of Denzel and the story of Frank Lucas kind of being romanticized by someone like Jay-Z, because he made one of his better albums. It was named after the movie. He was so inspired by it.
Maybe it is better than I like. Not better, but like more appreciated than I think of, because
was it Oscar nominated when it came
81
out?
81 on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.8.
No, it was well reviewed. It's a good movie.
No, it is. I still love it to this day.
Denzel's best performances, dude. When he shot Idris Elba, that is one of the most visceral moments I've ever experienced watching a movie. Where I was like, oh my God, he just blew his fucking brains out in broad daylight.
Best performance by an actress in a supporting role, Ruby Dee. Best achievement in art direction. Huh. A little light there.
Nothing for Denzel, huh?
Not that Golden Globe nomination.
Why'd Denzel got to be crooked before he took it? Well, did you hear this story about Paul Schrader being offered to direct David Mamet's JFK conspiracy script?
Who? What?
Which one?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
So David Mamet, he's a famous playwright. I can't off the top of my head. Glengarry Glen Ross, that was the big one with Alec Baldwin. He's also done a lot of other big shit. Family Guy makes fun of him a lot. But this was Paul Schrader, Taxi Driver, First Reformed, some other stuff with Scorsese and stuff on his own. The Card Counter last year. Master Gardener this year with Joel Edgerton. It's okay.
Okay.
So he wrote on Facebook that he was offered to direct Mamet's script on the JFK assassination. And
like the nitty-gritty? The stuff they don't want us to know?
Yeah, which is kind of what they did cover in the original JFK, but I imagine with Mamet, there's going to be a twist on it. So I don't really know much about it, but I like that combination, you know?
That'd be cool, like an
paranoid filmmaker with David Mamet's script. I think it's a good combination.
Not an alternate history, but like a different perspective on it, like the wildest conspiracy, like you could think of, like just put it into the movie. We could talk about it. Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah, at this point.
The Jean, her death, like with the hand and the hand's not there, kind of showing two different perspectives or like two different possibilities that occurred because of the cloudiness surrounding her death.
Yeah, that could be a fun way to do it with the JFK assassination. Like in one shot, there is somebody on the grassy knoll. The next shot, nobody's on the grassy knoll.
They should showed OJ. Like one where he doesn't, and then his side of the story.
No, they shouldn't.
See what could have else could have happened.
Yeah, cut that out. All right, let's go to the final story here. We have Super Mario Bros. 2 is in development. So after the big success of the Super Mario Brothers movie, which did come out this year, made $1.3 million. I don't know why it feels like it's been years already. Nintendo is naturally developing projects, not only for the Super Mario Brothers, but for some of their other IP. And for a long time, The Legend of Zelda has been in consideration or also development hell. They were supposed to be a Netflix series. So that seems to be the IP that everyone's naturally pointing to, saying, hey, this should be adapted. And I think if they did it in the style of a Super Mario Brothers, where it is a cartoon, not live action, it could be really good. I hope it's better than the Super Mario Brothers movie. And which I did enjoy for what it was, but I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is proof that a movie that's very catered towards children could be good. Because there were some jokes in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where I'm like, God, this is really annoying, but it's not for me.
Gotcha.
But I enjoyed it. So if they do continue down this road of Nintendo projects being adapted, I just hope they're a bit more clever. You know, of course, you have other franchises like Kirby that people love. I think there's a fun avenue to do an Animal Crossing story. Pikmin, Star Fox, if you want to get cosmic. Splatoon, that's the big one that the kids are playing these days.
No, Ninja Turtles looks fun. I feel like you gotta wait on those movies. Did you go by yourself?
Yeah, I did.
I feel like, I'll wait for the crowds to settle down. Nothing like going to see a kid's movie by yourself.
One of the worst crowds ever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the kids, it was the parents encouraging them. They just decided, we can talk throughout the rest of the movie because who cares? Who cares about everybody else? And it was a packed theater.
Yeah.
And it was the parents chipping in. Like, the kids were like, you're Donatello. No, I'm Donatello. And the parents were like, you're Splinter.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, parents need to realize, like, I think now more than ever, they gotta, like, teach their kids theater etiquette. But you see it all the time in restaurants, movie theaters. People just don't know how to control their kids sometimes.
And it's not even like, it's one thing if a kid's going to act up, because kids are kids. They get bored, whatever. But to encourage it as the parent, to chime in, to join in, making jokes, talking out loud. Like, people, dude, they were just ignoring everybody who was shushing them. They're getting shushed from every fucking angle.
Yeah, they're shushers.
They were just going for it. You know what it is? I think the movie was so loud because there was a lot of action. That
saw it in Dolby?
It got, say that again?
Saw it in Dolby?
No, it wasn't even in Dolby. They were getting drowned out at points, so they felt like they could just keep going.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
No.
But a Kirby movie could be fun, you know, a little intergalactic terrorist just sucking people up.
Yeah, Kirby is kind of a menace.
You know, he does a little bit where he eats Trump, and he has a little Trump hair. Little Trump hair on Kirby.
What's his power? What's his B button?
But, yeah, he just starts lying about shit that's blatantly obvious.
It's just like
I've never eaten somebody and taken their powers ever, not once.
It's just like golf club.
Golf club?
Trump golfs a lot, right?
Trump does golf a lot,
golfer.
yeah. Are you counting the hours? Well, the Super Mario Brothers movie is still the highest grossing of the year, right?
Yeah, and I think, like, it was...
Why did you do a Mario accent? I think, like, it was...
I think it was a solid movie, but, like, with and, like, I still... I'm on the side of being like, it was just like a fun kids movie. So I wasn't like super harsh on it. I know you were a bit harsher on it than I was, but
I gave it 2.5.
Yeah.
Could have been harsher.
I've been using the hearts. I've been trying to integrate the hearts, the like button on
let
Letterboxd.
people know, yeah, because sometimes the 2.5, you liked it or you didn't.
No. I'm playing 3D chess here. That's not what that means, but you know, sometimes like a 4, some 4s are better than other 4s.
Right.
So I use the heart to signify. This is a good, like, this is almost 4.5. I use it as like a little quarter button.
Right. That's interesting.
Like Oppenheimer, 5-star. Second time I saw it, that's a 5-star plus.
It's a 6. It's a 5.5.
5.25.
I thought of integrating the star with, like, just giving a movie a star is a 6. Like, this is beyond masterpiece. Just save it for, like,
because some 5 stars,
John Wick 5.
Some 5 stars are like all-time great classics. Some 5 stars are just like, oh, it's just a really perfect movie, but like, it's not Goodfellas.
You might be overthinking it.
You know,
it makes it easier. You know. Yeah, of course, some 4s are better than other 4s.
So I'm using
make a list.
I'm using that.
You make a 2023 watch list, you know, and you got to sort them out. Nice little 7-hour montage of you in different spots in your room thinking about, you know. Is Super Mario Brothers better than another 3-star movie that you love? Is it better than Pod Generation? Yeah, it's tough.
Maybe.
yeah, see? So the eyes rolling.
It is that movie. Actually, no, a trailer came out, so I think that's coming out.
Pod Generation?
Yeah.
I feel like it already came out, did it? No, I guess it did.
A lot of movies just exist.
August 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They exist, and nobody watches them. But I'll be there day one.
I feel like a Super Mario verse would be fun.
It could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to go with. Like you said, all the different IPs or different games you mentioned and with this different storylines. I just hope like it isn't like the Mattel, like it is to an extent, but at least they have something there and like years of characters and worlds where like Mattel looked at Barbie having success and it's like, oh, let's do Polly Pocket.
Right. Yeah, there's a bit more to mine from with their different franchises. So you give them a bit more of the benefit of the doubt, but also there's always going to be those vocal fans who are like, this Zelda's a video game and it works so great because Link never speaks, so you are Link. And Nintendo's also been very reluctant to keep up with the times, which a lot of people credit them for, of like, no, we're gonna make our games our way. It's a game first. The latest Zelda has a bit more story, a bit more lore, but you can also see how that could be adapted. And it has to be done by, you know, if a Zelda movie comes out and it's like the quality of the Mario Brothers, you're going to get way more pushback. Because I think there will be an expectation of every Zelda game that's ever came out has been considered a masterpiece in the gaming industry. Let's make Game of Thrones for kids, or Lord of the Rings for kids. And I think there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of fun that you can have with that. And I hope that they're more creative than like with how the Mario Brothers movie tried to incorporate the magic and the superpowers. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah. No, there's definitely going to be a joke in the Zelda movie about calling Link Zelda.
Right. That's what they shouldn't do. They shouldn't take that approach. They should treat it like a serious movie for kids. No meta jokes, no meta humor. Let's try and build a new fantasy franchise for the tykes.
You know who are
adolescents?
Complete psychopaths? People who mained Link in Super Smash.
Oh, that's what the Obama tweet was.
Oh yeah, he named that just like me. He's just like me.
The Captain Falcon, right?
Yeah.
So what killed me was they posted the headline that Obama plays with Captain Falcon, and somebody replies, "What am I supposed to do with this information?" Somebody else replies, "Main a counter," and it just. Like, yeah, get in the fucking lab and counter this. Who fights Captain Falcon well? But it's just such a casual, quick response that killed me, dude. But yeah, no, of course Obama would be a Captain Falcon main.
I'm just picturing Obama playing, like hitting the up on the D-pad for the "show me your moves," and laughing at, looking over at Michelle and laughing.
Okay, I had him playing with Joe.
Oh.
And sometimes they call over John Boehner.
Biden's got a PS4 controller.
It's like, where's the go card? How do I do
turbo? Am I doing this right, Barry? So that wasn't even about. I can't do a Biden. I did more Bush than Biden there.
Yeah, it works. I feel like there's wiggle room with Biden. It's not as distinct. Like Michael Kay always says, he can't be impersonated. His very basic voice, you know. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of the Nerd Soup podcast. We are signing off for now. Thank you for joining us. No questions. No, we ran a little long, so I didn't want to ask her questions. And also sometimes when we ask for questions so we don't use all the old questions, people are like, why the fuck are you asking for questions? So
you want to ask me anything?
What's your astrological sign?
I think it's Pisces.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. It is funny that I've never knew that, but like the only reason why I do know that is other people telling me I'm a Pisces. What about you?
Leo. Leo season. Although somebody, when I recently told them I was a Leo, they're like, what's your birthday? And it's on the cusp of Cancer and Leo. They were like, you have a lot of Cancer in you. And I don't like that because Cancers are emotional, but it's very true.
No, what are you? I'm a Leo. It's like, you're not a Leo. Your birthday is December. It's like, no, I just only fuck girls that are under 26.
All right, yeah, that ends it there. Taking shots at your boy. Wow. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. For Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, I am Bo Oliver. I'm back, baby, so stop calling me Nash and stop telling me I look like Joe DiMaggio. We'll be back next week. Hopefully we have something to review or to talk about. Honestly, in the news.
Real quick, like it is funny what people call us, like who we look like. The one that got me, like, that was like, holy shit. Someone called you, like, said Bam Margera once.
Yeah.
And like thinking of like,
that was years ago, yeah.
Yeah. But like the young Bam Margera, I'm like, that's kind of spot on. Now, don't look him up now.
No, I think she said it was now. So, yeah, no, it's unfortunate. No, but I looked him up and I was like, yeah, I could see a resemblance there.
No, I'm thinking like young, like Viva La Bam Bam.
Viva La Bam. Okay, right. That's what Bam did, right? He's part of the Steve-O gang. Bam got canceled.
What did he do?
Good ending.
Yeah, no, he probably. I could see him. He's not someone.
I mean, come on. Yeah, if I told you.
I responded like, Bam?
Bam? Not
It couldn't be Bam.
Not my Bam.
Bam's like, how did Bam get canceled? But then I was like, well, no, yeah, he's probably.
That crowd?
Probably should have been.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I'm surprised more of them haven't been canceled. Johnny Knoxville, man, he runs a tight ship.
Ever seen The Ringer? Wow, that was probably our best review yet. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here with a brief shameless plug before we end the video. Do you ever feel like you don't have an adequate amount of nerd soup in your life? Like you're going to bed hungry and yearning for the nonsensical yet entertaining nutrients our podcasts provide? Well, we've come up with the perfect solution. The Nerd Soup Fan Question Podcasts, exclusively available to our Patreon supporters. You can sign up now by visiting patreon.com/nerdsoup, and for the price of only $1 per month, you'll receive exclusive access to our weekly podcast where we answer your questions that don't make it to the main show. And while you're there, you can check out the other rewards we offer to our patrons, like stickers, mugs, t-shirts, behind-the-scenes footage, and appearing in the credits at the end of our videos. And that's exactly what we're gonna do right now. Roll the names of the nerds who make Nerd Soup possible. The reason why the crypto crash didn't send our lives spiraling down a black hole of no return. Alright, I'll stop talking so you can listen to this jazzy-ass music while checking if Bo spelt your name wrong in the credits.